Avenue came through and cut the space in half. And it introduced basically the square, or two halves that you have right now, which was based on an urban renewal philosophy of city design that separated people from cars completely. And that's when some of these redwoods came in. And then obviously there's an important elements of the plaza that we'll be reusing. For example, the Reunification fountain, particularly the main portion here, which has the panels on it. Not necessarily in the same place, but we'll be reusing it. So moving on to the design concepts, we developed three concepts, and maybe you've had a chance to look at them a little bit. But we're very excited about these, and we feel that they meet all the criteria that we established and discussed previously. So option one, to orient you, this is 4th Street on top, 3rd Street, and then the new Exchange Avenue and Hinton Avenue being restored on both sides of the square. Also, it shows the Bunya Bunya, the Redwood Christmas tree, clusters of redwoods along 4th Street here, 4 clusters. And this one, in this scheme, we're also keeping the redwoods that are in front of 50 Courthouse Square on Hinton Avenue. So basically what we have is a large central green, really a small size of the overall space, but what we're looking at is this is the original footprint of the first courthouse to go on the square, and it was just sort of a nice coincidence that it worked very well for the space, because you can see how that first courthouse sat very nicely in the space. So we felt it was a nice opportunity to bring that back into the space. It makes a very approachable green. It's nice to scale, I think. And then we have our custom light features here. That was one of the most important elements of the survey, that it have good lighting. So we really want to incorporate that, not just to provide safe lighting, but create a very dramatic, enjoyable nighttime effect. They could also be interactive as well. And then we have bosks of trees here that underneath would have a decomposed granite, would allow for different casual activities like the petanque or bocce perhaps, and also allow for a little more informal seating that's a little more sheltered from the central open space. We show the one-way streets around with angled parking, and we'd like to put concrete across the street to integrate the space nicely. And this will be an interactive feature. We're still developing what that can be with the Empire building here, and obviously that access across the space with the Empire building we felt was very important. So we really want to incorporate that into the scheme, whereas currently the Empire is sort of hidden to some degree. And this is the new pavilion performance stage here, the interactive feature, and the 4 light columns here. And those are those more informal DG spaces on the side. And the overall space would be like a stabilized, decomposed granite. So it has more of a park-like feeling to it than concrete, which we felt worked well here. So here's a view of the concept A, sort of with Hinton at our back, with the bike parking in the foreground, showing how prominently the Empire building now becomes in the scheme. These are light features, which sort of draw upon sort of the train history and those historic lanterns, as well as some of the deco examples of architecture in the downtown. Sort of what a pavilion might look like. We want it to be very open and transparent. This is one draws upon, potentially
Trent, can you
botanical.
speak up a little louder, please?
Sure. This one draws more on the botanical history of the city and, elements of Luther Burbank. There's really a rich history that we can incorporate into the different objects. So this one shows some of that here. This will obviously all be a refined green concept that has, the large green, but also very open on the sides. A little fewer trees around the perimeter, but the larger green space, which becomes the main sort of formal element and the sort of main amenity to the space. Again, we have the one-way. The streets are the same here. This shows a different colored concrete in the street. And again, we have a permanent performance structure along 4th Street. We felt this was the best placement for that so that people can flow in, 3rd Street. People can flow in from 4th Street and start to gather. It also allows for smaller performances with our little crescent here, and then it can expand around. So all of this space is flexible. The lawn here will be a reinforced lawn which allows even vehicles to drive on it, and it doesn't get muddy with heavy rains. So this whole space is flexible, and we have, the hardscape around is approximately option B with a different performance structure here. Very simple. The sides are very open and transparent. The views across the square are completely unimpeded. All of these, we wanted to keep it very level. We didn't want to create a lot of different spaces and, gathering spaces, some of which you have now. And this, something the police department is interested in as well, just to provide that visibility, make it a really safe and welcoming space. So that's a common element among them. The only elevated piece is the stage structure, which is a few steps up. We like to reuse the historic steps. Those are actually from the old courthouse, and they're on the square right now. So we want to try to incorporate as many of those historic elements in as possible. So this is a view with 3rd Street behind. This is obviously more contemporary take on it, drawing upon more of the modern architecture that's coming in. These light elements, all of these, some of them look a little different, but the idea is that they're going to be open metal work, right, that will be lit up with LED lights inside. So there's a lot of opportunities to really do different effects at nighttime, interactive features. We might put motion sensors in them, so when you come close to them, they change colors. So moving on to our final option C, this is sort of, this is all hardscape in the middle. This is not water. This is a decorative mosaic in the center here. So this one, although it has the largest hardscape in the center, you'll see it sort of takes on more of a park-like quality with all the greens at the edges. So we have greens surrounding that central space. And here we're allowing for the opportunity of a temporary performance structure. So that would go in specifically for events. And then here, our custom or our interactive feature would be more prominent in the scheme and would go into the center of the space. And that's what it looks like from above. So you can see, we have a double row of trees along the new avenues, and then we put a 3rd row here, so they're sort of flanking the greens around the side. So it takes on more of a sort of park-like quality. It has that large, flexible, internal hardscape. Here's a view from the inside, looking at these are more sculptural, decorative light features. Again, these would be open metal work, and not just metal pieces as shown here. And then showing our decorative, interactive feature that we'll be working with our artist, Martin Webb on.